guys, welcome back. Today I'm in a mood for a quick and snappy video, so I'm gonna film the genre book tag. Disclaimer, I think I'm gonna get really annoyed at how I will pronounce the word genre, especially because it's kind of irritating to me to say this word in general because of its etymology and because it comes from the French word genre, and yeah, it just gets really confused in my head, but don't mind the different ways in which I will pronounce this word, and let's get started with the video. This tag was created by Harriet Rosie, and I will link the original tag down below. And I was tagged by the lovely Morgane from the channel Morgane Kraut, and she will be down there as well, so go and check her out. Now, as the title says, this tag is all about genres of books and what genres I like or like less, and I think it might also be an interesting point if you're new to my channel to kind of pinpoint what kind of books I read and which styles I like. And I think it's just in general really interesting to see what people are drawn to, and I'm really looking forward to continuing watching this tag being recorded by different people I follow, and I think it's always really fascinating. The first question is obviously your favorite genres, and it was really hard for me to keep the number down, and I just allowed myself to put all of them, all the ones that I really enjoy. And firstly, there's classics, and I also want to talk more about this on my channel in the future. A big portion of what I read is literary fiction. I am a big fan of dystopian fiction, and I also really enjoy classic mystery detective stories. A recent genre that I got into more, especially since half a year or so, is non-fiction, and I'm a big fan of it now. And one long-standing favorite genre, I would say, are myths and legends. Question number 2 is your least favorite genres. My least favorite genres, and it doesn't mean that I hate every single book in that genre, but in the grand scheme of things, it's genres that I pick up less, or that I maybe like a few books, but too less that it's something that I'm really invested in reading. Firstly is self-help books, just because from what I read so far, they are quite repetitive and don't often provide me with new insights. Then I have thrillers, just because I think I just prefer the atmosphere and the style of old school classic detective stories, and I think that's just out of habit, I guess, and just something that I'm drawn to more. Then there's romance. I used to read a lot of romance when I was younger, and at least now where I am in my life, I feel like it's not something I'm seeking to read. Might change in the future, but I feel like I've had my fill for my teenage years, and now these days it's not something that I'm really interested in, at least for now. And lastly is fantasy. I know a big majority of people on this platform are reading a lot of fantasy, and I enjoy some fantasy, but I feel like the kind that I enjoy is so specific that I just either don't find the books that direct to that specific itch I need to scratch in fantasy, and often, to be really honest, I just can't be bothered to be looking for hours for fantasy books that would appeal to me, and that's just really laziness on my part. But I do appreciate the escapism that it gives, but I also feel like I can also escape with other forms of literature. Question number 3 is a genre you want to try, and for this question I'll probably turn it around in the terms of I want to try of more. I don't feel like there's any genre that I haven't tried yet that I'm interested in. It's just genres that I've tried in the past but not enough and I want to read more of. And definitely for me it's plays and short stories, and for the short stories part I've been doing that quite actively in the last few months. I just think it's interesting and it keeps me engaged to read other forms of written literature. And all these different forms can really, I don't know, tell a story in a very different way and can give you other angles to a certain type of story or type of narrative. So yeah, these are the genres that I want to read more of. Question number 4 is a genre you're not sure about. And for me, that's definitely historical fiction. Reading historical fiction has been such a hit or miss for me. And I just think it's also a question of not having pinpointed the exact type of literary fiction I like. And for a lot of people, I guess it's also a specific time period in which the historical novel is set. And I mean, for example, I've loved The Hunchback of Notre by Victor Hugo, but really didn't get on with Jessie Burton's The Miniaturist. So this is kind of the range I've tried so far, and I have a few more historical fiction novels on my shelf, and I'm really excited to see which ones I like and which ones I get on with, and I'm not losing hope. I think I will find the direction of historical fiction that I like, and I think it's just a really fascinating genre that you can do a lot with, and it can appeal to a wide range of readers. Question number 5 is a genre blend that you love. I have 2 for this. The first one is when fantasy is coupled with humor, and a typical example is Terry Pratchett's books. I really love the Witches series, and one of my favorite Terry Pratchett's is Mort, which is so hilarious. I just like the tone and the airiness to it, and I think the humor also helps with the feeling of escapism. And another blend that I really like is sci-fi coupled with horror or dystopia, and perfect examples are H.G. Wells' books, John Wyndham's books, and these are both authors that I want to read everything by because they just hit that perfect sweet spot of the genre blend that I like. And the final question, question number 7, is a genre-defying book. And I'm having a bit of trouble with that question and just the term genre-defying in itself. I know a lot of people mention that question Cloud Atlas, and it's a question because I've been looking around for what the term actually means, and in many ways it can mean a book that is hard to pinpoint a genre it belongs to, or a book that mixes so many genres that it's not really easy to define it. And then comes the question, from which number of genre mixes does it start from? Like, is it like 2+ genres, then it's a genre-defying book? So I'm not too sure about that question, to be honest. I just realized by looking at it and researching it that maybe that's because I don't read that kind of books. At least, for example, Cloud Atlas is definitely not something that I'm interested in reading, and I feel like mixing too many genres doesn't necessarily make the book more interesting or better. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this question that kind of kept me puzzled. But I would love to know what you think of that question, because I think it's kind of a question that you could use for a discussion. Yeah, so this was the genre book tag. I hope you enjoyed this video. Also, before I forget, because I do always forget, I'm gonna tag 6 people to do this tag. Don't feel like you have to do it. And also anyone watching this can do this tag. Let me know down below if you film it so I can go and check it out, because I just think it's a really interesting one. I'm gonna tag Claudia from Spinster's Library, Sandra from Pull Down the Moon, Madeline from Made with Books, Celia, Karen from the Zurich Review, and Ava Strange. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what your favorite genre blends are, because there's so many out there and so many we might not be thinking of, so let me know which ones you enjoy, as well as any answers to these questions. I hope you're taking care of yourself and that you're reading great books, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!